So alhamdulillah, again, the reason why we're having our meeting today is because I want to address the parents of our future ummah. Okay, when I'm talking to the parents, I'm talking to the guardians of the future of this ummah. And, I shared some content with you guys over the week, and maybe it was a little bit of a shock to many people because they usually don't see me posting this kind of content. But to be quite honest, I came across some research recently, and this research was very concerning. And it made me ask the question, why are we in a state of heedlessness? Are we actually aware of what is at stake and what we're losing? And this relates to a Pew Research article. So we have a Pew Research article that came out, and this article, I'm going to share my screen and we can go through it together, inshallah ta'ala, is very, very concerning. Okay. So here we are. We have the Pew Research Center. This is a very legitimate, bona fide research center. Look at the title of this. The share of Americans who leave Islam is offset by those who become Muslim. Okay, that's the title. And this, I want you to keep this in mind. Keep this all in mind, okay? The share of Americans who leave Islam is offset by those who become Muslim, okay? To summarize this is a study, an article, research that was published here in 2018. However, we'll see some of the information in here is from other dates, but it's all around in this area here, okay? What concerned me so much is that you read this big thing here about a quarter of adults who were raised Muslim, 23%. What's the percentage? 23%. No longer identify as members of the faith. So as of this research, about a quarter of adults who are raised in Muslim homes no longer identify as members of the faith. And this is supposed to be on par with the amount of Americans who were raised Christian who no longer identify with Christianity. All right, so this analysis of the 2014 landscape study. So this is an analysis done in 2018 from data that they had in 2014. Now, I want you to keep in mind 2014. This is relevant. It says here, but while the share of American adults who are converts to Islam also is about 1/4, a much smaller share of current Christians, 6%, are converts, meaning many more people, 4 times more people are converting to Islam than Christianity, alhamdulillah. That's good, that is good news, right? But that's not what we should be looking at here. Don't sit back and celebrate and say, we're beating the Christian faith in converts. This is something we should be competing for. This is something we should be proud of. But if we're losing about the same amount as we're gaining, we're net negative. If we're losing about the same amount of Muslim youth, your children that you raised in Muslim homes, and that's what I want you to focus on. These are your children. I have 5 kids. I have 5 children. Statistically speaking, it's above a 100% chance, according to this study, that one of my children is going to leave Islam. May Allah protect my children. May Allah protect all of your children. But 1 in 4. So let's say, for example, I had 1 child. Well, there's a 25% chance that my son or my daughter will leave Islam. 25% chance. When you think about what is an acceptable risk, and I asked this question, what is an acceptable risk that you would tolerate, right? Everything that we do in life has an inherent risk. Your kids go outside, they could get, hit by a bus. May Allah protect them and prevent that. But what's the chance that that will happen, right? When they're older versus when they're younger, right? So what percent risk would you tolerate? And so I'm going to leave a couple minutes to ask you this question, okay? What percent risk would you tolerate? And what would be a tolerable risk of something you could sacrifice for your children? Okay? Would you risk them possibly scraping their knee, scratching their arm, maybe breaking a bone while they go and play, versus death, versus critically injuring long-term severe injuries, right? Certain things we do has a certain amount of risk. Some things are less risky, some things are more risky. What would you tolerate, right? Your threshold is very, very low. I know it as parents. So how about this statistic that 25% of Muslim youth raised in Muslim homes no longer identify as Muslim? 25%. So I see right now I have 2 people that are on the live, 3 people that are on the live. I'd like to ask you to please take this link and share this and ask people to come into this. This is a very important topic. We're talking about saving your children from this troubling statistic that is a recognized statistic that 25% of our Muslim youth are going to leave Islam. 25%, 1 in 4. So please, this is an important topic. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for anything. I'm asking that you do your part and please take this link and share it with others and ask them to come in and join. I'm not going to take a lot of your time, inshallah. I'll keep this live going and we can keep this going because we need to keep our mouths open about this problem. We need to be open about this problem. We need to be very apparent. If this is what is concerning to us, if this is what is important to us, we're going to find out now. Please take this link and share it with others and ask them to join and check out this information that I'm sharing with you all. I have a big problem I'm going to talk to you about. I have a lot of things to talk about packed into that problem. And I have, alhamdulillah, some solutions. MashaAllah, I see there's 4 people. Okay, let's get some more links. Go ahead, ask people to join, call people in, share, post this on your feed, call people in. Let's get the conversation going. Let's save our children from the hellfire, inshallah. 6, mashallah. Now I see this is the good that's inside of the ummah, alhamdulillah. People that cared about their children, they care about the children of the ummah, even if they don't have children of their own, mashallah. Okay, so here again, I'm going to share this screen and I'm going to show you this troubling number again. Okay, let's go back to the study, inshallah. All right, here we go. All right, so according to this landscape religious study that was done from data from 2014, it's estimated that almost a quarter of adults who are raised Muslim no longer identify as members of the faith. And this is about the same number for Christians. However, the amount of people converting into Islam, the number of Muslims in America that converted to Islam is roughly a quarter, which is great, okay? That's as of 2014. I want you to keep that in mind. Ask yourself this question. Do you think that there are more or less Muslims entering into Islam? More or less people entering into Islam? There's less. I can almost guarantee you that. Think from 2014, from the Dawah scene, from what people were doing, how they were out there, and think about today. Think about COVID. Think about all these things that inhibited the dawah. Okay? And then think again with COVID, with the assault that has been on people of faith, of all faiths. I want you to ask yourself, do you think that it's the same number, 23%, of young adults that are no longer Muslim? Do you think the number is higher or lower? Let me ask you. Do you think the number is higher now or lower? The number of Muslims leaving the religion in the West, higher or lower? I can tell you as an imam, subjectively, from the objective data that I have done as well, that I've gathered, the number is higher. The number is higher, okay? Now, looking at the former Muslims, many former Muslims now say they have no religion. And that's not surprising, to be honest with you, because what can you go to after Islam as a system? There's nothing as a religion, as a deen, right? If you're going to worship something, you're going to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't go from that. A very small group of people go from that to worshiping other than Allah. And if you look here at the number for Christians and something else, they have something else all gathered in together. But, you know, this is 43%, roughly, are going for Christianity or something else. 55% say they have no religion, they're not a believer, they are an atheist, or more likely an agnostic, somebody who believes in a creator, but doesn't want to sign in and identify with any particular religious group, okay? So this is a very important study that was done here, okay? A 2017 Pew Research survey of US Muslims using slightly different questions. So now let's go from 2014 to 2017, okay? Found similar estimate, 24% of the share of those who were raised Muslim but have left Islam. 24%. This could be me or you. Besides our children. But let's look at our children, because the majority of them are young adults and they're leaving Islam after having been raised inside of a Muslim household. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that, okay? Among this group, 55% no longer identify with any religion. That's the numbers that we saw above, okay? Now, common reasons for leaving Islam include dislike of organized religion and disbelief in God, in Allah, subhanallah, subhanallah. So issues with religion in general is all grouped together with things related to that, 25%, okay? They don't like organized religion, they don't believe in religion. This is not surprising, right? What is the number one challenge that we have to fight and combat after ignorance is our desires, And we live in a society that says, you don't have to wake up every day. You don't have to pray 5 times a day. You don't have to fast and give up food and drink for 30 days. You don't have to do any of these things. Why don't you come out here? Why are you dressed that way? Don't you want to be free with everybody else? And they're raised in societies of people who are free, quote unquote, even though this is not true freedom. This is the greatest slavery, because they have become slaves to theoretical opinions and popular culture, which changes, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never changes. So because they refuse to become a servant, a slave to their creator, they become a slave to the creation. And this is a reality, okay? 8% of them said they don't believe in Allah. And I honestly believe that these majority of them are simply not well educated at all and are afraid or nervous to, affiliate themselves with something they can't defend, something that they don't really know or understand because they've not been educated properly. They're not religious and they're not practicing. They drifted away from the religion. Of course, we have conversations with many other Muslims, right? We ourselves, our iman, it goes up with obedience to Allah, and our iman goes down with disobedience to Allah and transgression, right? But at the end of the day, we're still what? We're still Muslim, right? Muslims. 19% of these people said they had issues with Islam. Again, I want you to think, what is it that's going to be the number one influence for people who make this statement? They're raised Muslim, but don't believe or never really connected with it. Who do you blame? Who do you hold accountable? They don't like or agree with the teachings of Islam. Who do you blame? Who do you hold accountable? They think that Islam is a terroristic or or is involved with fanaticism, religious fanaticism. Okay? Terrorism or fanaticism. Again, where did this term terrorist really come out from? What was the point where this became the common bad guy theme, right? And what society, right, harbored most of this in and was pushing and pumping this out, okay? The society that you're living in today, right? 16% said they have preference for other religions or different spirituality, okay? So they prefer the beliefs or teaching of another religion, okay? Open-minded to all religions, morality, and they believe in the being a good person. Does this sound familiar? There's so many feel-good imams, quote unquote, that they're dumbing down the religion to this concept to the point we even have religious so-called scholars. They are muftis. They are religious scholars giving verdicts, congratulating the Christians on their Christmas, congratulating the Jews in Hanukkah, congratulating these people on these different days. Okay, 1% exploring personal spirituality. Personal growth, subhanAllah. This is the one that was one of the most amazing to me. 14% left Islam and said it's personal growth reasons. They became more educated. I would think the opposite. Why would I think the opposite? Because I want to ask you, audience, this question. The fact you're created by a creator and this creator is unique. He has unique actions and he has unique names because of his actions and his qualities that he has informed us of. Because of this, he's the creator, he is the provider, he is the manager of everything, of all the creation, and nothing else is, then we do things for him. How is that complicated? How hard is that? How hard? And that we know what we should do for him because we were sent a messenger. This is Islam. How can you say you became more educated? This is the only thing that makes sense. Think about religion. This is the only thing that makes sense, okay? That because our creator is unique, in and of himself and in his actions, there's things that we do for him that we only do for him. Similarly, our parents, our mother and our father, we do things for our mothers and our fathers that we will not do for anybody else because of the fact that they are our parents. And because of the actions of what they did for us, they deserve to be treated differently. They deserve to be called father. They deserve to be called mother. And to Allah is the highest example. How can you become more educated than that? How? It's impossible. Grew up, matured, life experiences. Again, this has to do with the environment. The environment. I want you to think about that and keep that in mind. Personal or non-specific family reasons, 2%. And I honestly think that these other reasons that we see up here, the family reasons are contributing factors into all of these. And I would say that family matters are actually the majority reason why people are leaving Islam. The majority reason, because the family is the greatest contributor to all of these other issues in reality. Okay. Other or unclear, no answer, 12%. Okay, equals 100%. Okay. Now we talk about Christianity. Most converts to Islam were raised Christian. Not surprisingly, in America, right? This is a Christian country. The majority of the people here are Christian, of different denominations. But nonetheless, the majority of people are entering into Islam from Christianity compared to other religions, okay? The main reasons why they convert to Islam. Now let's look at this. This is very interesting because we should have two things in mind. Stop the leak. Stop the leaving. Stop the people leaving Islam, okay? Stop it. And get more, bring more in, call more in, ask Allah to bring us more, grow our numbers, raise our ummah, raise our ranks with the people. 24% of people, they preferred the beliefs and teachings of Islam and find more meaning in Islam from the people who converted. They read the religious texts and studied Islam, 21%. I can promise you, as a former Christian, many Christians never read the entire Bible and never will. Never will. And even from those who do, they do not have a grasp of the English language enough for them to properly understand it, and enough Bible studies that they've done to understand the context of any of it, okay? Which, by the way, is a big waste of your time, because if you want to talk about religious texts, the Bible is not a book that you can affirm the content of it. You cannot produce an original manuscript of the Bible, not of the Old Testament, not of the New Testament. And it's translated on translation. No languages directly translate. For this reason, you cannot use the Bible to properly understand Christianity. I'm sorry. I saw there's a guy who got on and was talking to Daniel Hakikachu and the brother Joe, the Muslim metaphysicist. And this guy got on and said, I am a scriptural guy. I'm not with this. And I said, man, this is the easiest guy to talk to about his beliefs. And if he watches this, I hope he does. Please spread this. Please, I'm going to take a pause here. Just want to remind everybody, let's do our part, inshallah ta'ala. Everybody here, I see we have some people that are watching. Please take this link and send this link out, spread to other people, and let them know that they can join the live, inshallah, okay? Let them know that they can join the live, and let's get people engaged in the conversation, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, I'm gonna take a moment to do the same thing that I'm asking you all to do, inshallah. So I'm taking the link, okay, sharing the link, I am copying the link, and I am now going to post the link, inshallah. Okay, please take time to do this and get more people in this conversation, because everybody needs to be concerned about this. A quarter of our Muslim youth are at risk because of these facts that we are going through here, okay? A quarter, 25%. This is a very big number, okay? It would be intolerable to me as a Muslim if 1% of people are leaving Islam before these reasons that we're going over. It's a concern, something we have to be concerned with, something that we have to try to stop. Okay, so I'm sharing in different feeds. Please make sure that you do the same. Let's stop the people, let's save our youth, let's save our community, let's save ourselves. As Allah says, Ku anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. Save yourselves and your families from the hellfire. Save yourselves and your families from the hellfire. Save yourselves and your families from the hellfire. Okay? All right. So I've shared this into a few different places. I am going to continue, inshallah ta'ala. Okay. All right. Again, we're now looking at 21% of people who enter into Islam enter it because they're looking at religious texts and studying the religious texts of the Quran and the Sunnah. They wanted to belong to a community, 10%. And what better community to belong to? This is the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Muslims, the largest family. Okay. Then we had marriage relationship, mashallah. We know many people, they found that one and they wanted to unify their home, and may Allah reward them. May Allah reward them for wanting to be on the same page. And this is how you are going to properly raise a family, if you're on the same page. Spirituality is from the most important things that you got to be in tune with your partner about if you want a successful marriage, okay? Introduced by a friend or following a public leader, mashallah. I heard a statistic that 2 million, estimated 2 million people entered into Islam, and they attributed their Islam to the life of Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz, also known as Malcolm X. 2 million people. And I want to ask you this question. How long was our brother Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz a Muslim for? A true Muslim? A couple months. The impact of his da'wah without Facebook, without YouTube, without Instagram, without TikTok. 2 million people? Muslims, we have to do better. We have to try our best. We need to spread this message. We need to be speaking with our coworkers and our neighbors. We need to be speaking with the people and introducing them on social media. If he was alive today, rahimahullah, may Allah have mercy on him, and how much proper education did he have in Islam? Just be honest. A couple months worth, 2 million people into Islam. This is amazing. This is amazing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him. May Allah have mercy on him. You, how much time have you had with Islam? And what are you doing with it? Why? Why would you look and say 2 million people for him? MashaAllah, 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 pointing at him. What about you? What about me? What are we doing? How are we propagating this message? Are we following the example of the messengers? Are we following the example of the prophets? Are we following the example of the Sahaba? Are we following the example of the pious Salaf? 8% said family, okay? Researching for answers and exploring personal spirituality, found truth in Islam, preferred practices of Islam, and other and unclear. And you know, here's a funny correlation I'm going to make here, okay? Nobody said that their family, okay, only, I guess it says here 8%, okay? So 8% said that they entered into Islam because of their family. And here, the statistic says that's listed, 2% said that they left Islam because of their family. Okay, think about that. Think about that. Again, I think that's inaccurate. Any Muslim who has been active with families in the community knows the challenges that we have, that many people leave their religion and they attribute it to their family, but it's in the name of something else. But when you really look at what was the contributing factor, the family is responsible or shares a lion's mane of responsibility. Okay, so This again is a study that was done from 2014 numbers, 2017. What do you think today? Do you think more people are into Islam? Do you think that fewer people are exiting Islam? I do not believe so. Not as an imam, not from the work that I've done in the community. I do not believe so. I believe the number is getting worse. All right. So here we are, part one. I wanted to talk about this study. Okay. I wanted to talk about this study. So if you would please take a moment and invite others to join this conversation, inshallah. I'll give you some time here. Please take this link, send this link out. We're going to give a couple of minutes, inshallah, and then we're going to get into some more things that are very concerning, leading up and contributing to this phenomenon of our 25% of our Muslim youth are leaving Islam as of 2014, 2017. We know that this number is getting bigger, and it needs to stop, and it needs to reverse. And we will work together, and we will work hard, inshallah ta'ala, to reverse it, inshallah. Okay? Okay. So I want to share my screen again and go over something that I posted to you all. So now we understand the first part. Okay, 25% of people, 25% of our youth are leaving Islam. I asked the question earlier this week in the Facebook Live. What percentage of loss would you tolerate? What percent of risk would you tolerate for a given activity for your children? Would you give a 25% risk that they would die, a 25% risk that they would lose their life or their limbs? Would you allow them to participate in what would contribute to a 25% chance that they would die or have severe trauma? Nobody would do that. No responsible parent would ever do that. So why are we doing that with our children today? That's what I want you to keep in mind, inshallah. Now, let's look here at this. Now, I'm going to go through this and pause it as we go. Okay. All right. So I prepared this. You know, in the beginning of this video, I posted this. It says that Allah made the earth spacious and your children should not be in public schools. Your children should not be in public schools. Nobody's children. Christian children should not be in public schools. Jewish children should not be in public schools. Hindu children should not be in public schools. I promise anybody who has values, your children should not be in public schools. All right, let's look at this video. Okay. Now, what is this? This is a TikTok post that I received. Okay. And looking at this TikTok post, this is a teacher in a school. This is America. She has her own preference of how she wants to live her life and what she wants to identify herself as, no problem. She is announcing me as a queer teacher with a gender student who confidentially came out to me. Look at her, thumbs up. Your child knows what, your child has told me what you don't know. I know about your child what you don't know. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay? What does your sexual preferences have to do with educating my child about math, about algebra, about social studies, about science, about biology? What does it have to do with anything? Nothing. Zero. Zero. Who sends their kids to public schools or any school so that they can teach them about sexuality, so that they can tell them their subjective opinions about the way they want to live their life? Nobody. The same way, I don't care what's in your cabinets. What do you eat in the morning? What type of toothbrush do you use? None of these things are important to my children. None of these things are important to me. Okay? So, man, if you look at even the title of her profile, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. What person with honor and integrity would even name themselves what she did with the play on words here? You know, it's filth, okay? So this is her first part. She's so happy when when a child comes out to her and wants to confidentially keep secret what they're holding in and even keeping from their family. You think about that. In public schools, this is happening every day. It's not a conspiracy theory. This is not, Elon Musk and, Donald Trump. And no, I'm a Muslim. I am not Republican. I am not Democrat. But I believe in common sense and common values. And I was raised in a different America than what we're living in now. And this is an embarrassment, I'll be honest, because it was never about me, 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 me. We've become the most narcissistic society in the world, and we're losing. We're losing. We're going to get into that, inshallah. So here she is, she's celebrating, okay? A queer teacher, now here she goes. This is her celebrating this, okay? Thumbs up, so happy, and now having to misgender them, meaning your son, as far as you know, identifies as a boy. And you have raised him as a boy. He came out with the parts of a boy. She came out with the parts of a girl. You raised them as we have been raised to raise our children in Islam. And that's okay. We don't have to be apologetic because we are Muslims. We do not have to be. You don't have to be apologetic because you are a Christian with conservative values. You don't, even if you don't have a religion, this is common sense, right? Okay. So her having to misgender them every time I see their homophobic parents. Homophobic parents? Homophobic. First of all, who's coming up with these lofty names to trigger and call people names? Because I promise you one thing, I'm not afraid of homosexual people. I've never seen one person out here who's, oh, they're gay, I'm so afraid. I've never seen this before. This title is inflammatory. I am a Muslim. I believe in the Quran, what was sent down by Allah. I have a right to do that. I was born with the innate nature that there is a creator who created everything that I call on and have a relationship with, that I'm going to return to, who created me, who created you, who created everything. There's nothing more natural than that, by the way. So if anything, everybody's a Muslim. You're born as a Muslim. We say this as Muslims. All the children of Adam are born in the innate nature of a Muslim, in submission to their creator. How could you be in anything except for submission to your creator? You can't even open your eyes or see across the room. You cannot communicate in any language. You did not even find any way to find, food. You came out drinking milk from your mother. From your mother. Don't get to this conversation with me about that. That's how you came out. Getting milk from your mother. Raised by your mother and your father. Every one of us. Except that our parents may make us Christian or Jew or magician, or now may make the boy a girl or the girl a boy. It's all deviation, no matter what you want to call it, because it's a deviation from the innate nature that we are created upon an innate nature to worship our creator. And this is a whole separate conversation. This is the most important conversation, and we will have this conversation, inshallah. So this woman now, she says, homophobic parents to protect them because they're 12 years old. 12 years old. Now, America, I'm going to give you a scenario. A city full of 12-year-olds driving cars, would you be in that city? A city full of 12-year-olds driving cars, would you be in that city? No, you would not. A city full of 12-year-olds with guns. A city full of 12, I can show you cities of 12-year-olds with guns, and I promise you, you don't want to be in those cities. You want to keep this attitude all the way around. This is not extreme. You're talking about a 12-year-old. What kind of faculties does a 12-year-old have, oh educator? Oh licensed teacher? Oh expert in childhood development? And what do you trust a 12-year-old with? That same 12-year-old wants to get married. What do you say? That 12-year-old wants to marry another 12-year-old, what do you say? Keep that same energy, okay? Now, that same 12-year-old wants to marry a 22-year-old. What do you say? What do you call that? Why do you say it's a violation? Why do you say that that's pedophilia? Because you know that a 12-year-old mind is not mature. It's not mature. Look, again, homosexual teacher, whatever you choose to do in life, like I said, this is America. This is the world, as a matter of fact. Confidentially coming out to a teacher. Confidentiality. This is what she likes and covets. Look at this hashtag. Let's see if I can get this hashtag up. There we go. Look at this hashtag. Queer teacher TikTok. I want you guys to go home, or you are home, after we have this talk. I want you guys to log in, and I want you guys to start hashtagging different things like that. Look up the hashtags and see how many posts have taken that hashtag. Type hashtag gender fluent or gender woke teacher. Hashtag teacher, protect just whatever your mind can think of. You will be shocked. You will be shocked. You will be very, very shocked. May Allah protect our children. Let's keep this going, inshallah. This is so disturbing. Here, this is a classroom. When I was growing up, the American flag was on the wall, and I was raised as a patriot. I was raised as an American youth, okay? We would go out, it was an honor to do the flag ceremony, raise the flag up, and we even did the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, as a Muslim, I personally don't do the Pledge of Allegiance. Why do I not do that? Not because I have anything against America. I am American. But because I don't pledge absolute allegiance to anything or anyone except for my Creator. That's it. I don't pledge allegiance to my wife. I do not pledge absolute allegiance to my mother. I do not pledge absolute allegiance to my father. I do not pledge absolute allegiance to any group. I pledge absolute allegiance to my Creator. That's it. That's what that's about. That's what Mahmoud Abdul Rauf was about. I was here in Colorado, didn't even know what a Muslim was. And I saw him not standing up, and it bothered me. But I was a child. But now I understand. This is not taking a knee for anything. This is, I'm not going to pledge allegiance to anything except for to my creator who created me. It's the only one who deserves that. Everything else is flawed. Why would I pledge absolute allegiance to anything else? Because it will fail you. But your creator is perfect and the creation is not. So here we are in the classroom. Whatever reason you decide you have to put up this flag and keep this on the wall. Personally, interesting color of hair choice. When I was a student in school, these things were unheard of. Even the girls, they could not have their blouses, their dresses above their knees. They used to get written up and sent home. That's the public school that I went to. That's the public school that many of you guys think that your children are going to for lack of a better, understanding. You think that it's something similar to that. No, it's not. It's completely different. It's just like a prison. Who runs the prison? It's not the guards. The inmates run the prison. Who is running the schools? The children are running the schools. The children are running the schools. There's not enough staff to manage that amount of kids. And there's too many things placed in to obstruct teachers from doing what it is that they could be doing, including informing you about major things you need to talk to your children about. They can't even do it, even the ones who want to. Teachers, tell me I'm wrong. You cannot call up your student says, please do not tell my parents that I identify as a dog. This happens all the time. Yes, I just wanted you to know that your son, he thinks he's a dog. No, not Snoop Dogg. It's literally a dog. Yes, dog. And he wants to have a tail that he has brought in, and he's hiding it from you. He took it off of his stuffed animal and he's wearing it. Wallahi, this is happening in schools today. This is happening in schools today. That's happening in schools today. You think it's not common? Look here. Look. 6,562 likes. You think that that's not common? And now let's get to the real agenda. You thought that, okay, everybody is going to respect everybody's beliefs because it's a public school. They're not concerned with your children's sexuality. They're not concerned with their genders. They're not concerned with any of those things. You're wrong. Look at this book. Is that a girl with a hijab? You think that that's by coincidence? Every color is on there. I want to make one point, and please do not take me to be somebody who is anti-Semitic for what I'm about to say, but I'm going to make this statement. I don't care. Show me one book that has a child in any kind of traditional Jewish clothing like this. You won't find it. Because conservative Jewish people, many of them, they're not playing this game. They're on top of this, and they will take people to court. They will do anything they can to obstruct this from happening. They don't want to disturb the image of the mature, healthy, intelligent, safe and sound, mentally sound Jewish person. Muslims are shook. We're afraid. We have this inside. We talk about this in our private circles, but we do not come out and talk about this and make sure that these are not happening. We do not have the measures in place and the institutions to stop and make sure and check these things. We're not even paying. We are not organized ourselves. We know this. We know this as Muslims. May Allah rectify us. Look at this pronoun book. A pronoun book, really? This is something you really want to say is the goal of public school, that taxpayers are paying money so that this can be addressed. I promise you that's not true. Children's books. Girl in hijab. Do not assume that they will respect your religious preferences. This book is intended for, look, I have it, it's underlined, 5-year-olds. 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 Why don't we have guns hanging around inside of houses? Because 5-year-olds may think that they're invisible. Why do you take the sharp knives and keep them up away from 5-year-olds? Because they may think that they're ninjas and find out that they're not. Why do we not leave windows open? Right? You have really high-rise buildings, the window's gonna stay relatively shut. You're gonna tell that kid, hey, you can't fly. I know you are Superman. You are not Superman. You're a super dude. I love you, son, but you're not Superman. Don't jump out the window. How? These guys don't even know what they are. You're gonna suggest to them that they aren't boys. And this is actually troubling to many kids. We have kids coming home crying, telling their parents, wallahi, telling their parents that my teacher said that I don't have to be a boy and I just want to be a boy. Wallahi, even worse. I've seen they have done plays and other things where they involved youth. And they forced the Muslim kid, the Muslim boy, to take the role of a Muslim girl. This is filth. Allah commands you, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, ku anfusukum wa ahlikum nara. O you who believe, save yourselves and your families from the hellfire. Save yourselves and your families from the hellfire. Save yourselves and your families from the hellfire. What's not to understand there? Your priority after obeying Allah, after having righteousness to your parents, save your families from hell. Save your families from hell. And now, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to continue to discuss this, inshallah. Okay. Some points that I want to bring up here now that we've talked about this. And wallahi, I have been so conservative not to share with you things that I have seen, shared, posted. Wallahi, I will show you things that I, as a Muslim, it's even hard for me to show you these posts, okay? To not expose you to fitna. But if those thumbnails disturbed you, if you saw them and were like, astaghfirullah, Sheikh Umar, astaghfirullah, I can't look, I cannot look. But you take your kids and send them to public school, your children are seeing that and worse. They're seeing that and worse. And you know what's scary about it? Some of them have already acclimated and it doesn't even bother them. It does not bother them. Okay? Say what you want to say. I'm not a homophobe. I'm not ever afraid of somebody's sexuality. That's insane. I am a conservative, valued Muslim, Orthodox Muslim. I follow the Quran and the Sunnah. Those same liberties are the liberties you claim to protect. But now we find that Muslims are getting canceled because they don't want their children to be exposed to the same stuff. That's the reality of this society that we're in today. That's the reality of it. So the priority for us, again, the priority of education is Islamic education, is to introduce and affirm the values so that your children will grow up to be, quote unquote, God-fearing people. Why should they fear God? Because Allah is the one who created you. Allah is the one who gave you the ability to breathe. Allah is the one who is going to take your soul when it's time. And there's nothing you can do to prevent Allah from anything. The proofs of the existence of Allah are too numerous, but I'll name two. One, his creation. Allah created the sun, he created the moon. His signs, he created the day, he created the night, created time. And the second is his legislation, his book, the Quran. And with that is the sayings, the doings, and the approvals of his messenger, what we call as Muslims, the Sunnah. Inshallah, please, if you guys would take some time, take this and spread this link, invite some people, inshallah. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's work, inshallah. I'll try to do these streams regularly so we can discuss these major issues we have to, okay? Now let's talk about the reality of public schools. As a background, so you can understand, because you think that maybe I hate schools. My mother was a career teacher in Denver Public Schools, and my mother's a phenomenal teacher. She taught at Gove, she taught at Hamilton, she taught at Horace Mann, she taught at many different schools and many different people, many different walks of life. I was raised by a teacher. And I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I ask Allah to guide my mother. But my mother, she was a career teacher, and she retired. Very honorable, very, very good woman. And that's not biased opinion. I know it's my mom, that's my mama. If my mom is watching, I love you, mama. But that's the honest fact. I was raised by a teacher, so I know about teachers, I know about their sacrifice, and guess what? I am a teacher today. I teach in an Islamic school. I teach in an Islamic school. I teach on the weekends, the public school children. I am a teacher 7 days a week. The reality of public schools is that first and foremost, they are void of values. They are void of values, not true values. They have a lot of theories, and these theories change, and you can tell, just look at the textbooks from 1970 and the textbooks from today, and you think that you want to rely on that education that's not even relying on itself, okay? These environments in these schools in reality are violent environments. School fighting and bullying is normal. Normal. School shootings are normal. Teen pregnancy from school, normal. Teen suicide from school, normal. These things are normal. And if you have Muslim children, your children are not normal in this society. So your children are susceptible to bullying. And I want you to ask your children if they've been bullied. And they might play it off like it's all cool, but it's not all cool, man. It's not. And they're not tough like you may think that they are. And this bullying and things that they're being exposed to is causing many of them to leave Islam. The bullying, the desire to stop the bullying, so they just want to fit in with everybody. As you guys saw, I posted a post, children trying to pray inside of a public school, charter school, still publicly funded school. And they're being prevented. They're being stopped from praying. Stop from praying. Can you imagine that? Right? It's despicable. This is the reality of public schools. Your children are not praying inside of public schools. Your children are exposed to drugs, sex, violence, and the hierarchy of fitting in. The more you conform to the group, the cooler you are. So if your child is very popular in a public school, there's a large chance that they have compromised most, if not all, of their religion. It's reality. Okay. They teach disbelief and immorality in every subject. I said every single subject. Man, come on, Sheikh. How are you going to say that they teach immorality and disbelief inside a math class? Okay, let's get down to it, man. You want to get down to it? Maybe you didn't know your Aqidah. Maybe you didn't know your belief system. Let me ask you a question. What is a line? What's a line? Does a line have a beginning and an end? If you said yes, or no, it doesn't have, it goes on forever. This in and of itself, without understanding how to properly answer this is disbelief. Because nothing has no beginning and no end except for Allah. But now you done made lines as equals to Allah in this quality. Did you think about that? The correct answer is a line, we don't know where the end is, but it has an end and it has an origin. But for all intents and purposes, it's irrelevant. But I promise you, there's a mathematician trying to figure out that to this day. May Allah guide him to Islam because he's wasted his life. And if he can answer this question, good for him. But how many other questions can you not answer? Whereas I know illiterate mothers in the village that can't read, and they are going to die with more certainty than you and your Harvard and your Cambridge degree, your MIT. So that's just how it is. You can have certainty in Islam. You will never have certainty in science and academia in that way, never. So I invite you to Islam so you can have certainty and stop these sleepless nights about these things that don't matter. Instead, you can stay up at night and think about your Creator, your Lord. Alhamdulillah. Please take time, spread this. Jazakumullah khair for everybody who is participating. Thank you for your time. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it beneficial for you. We're going to keep on going, inshallah. I'm not going to stop talking about our kids. You guys that know me, I've been in this community for over a decade. I've been with the kids. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I'm on the boat with them. The boat's sinking. Ku anfusakum. At some point, I'm going to have to get off and we're going to have to stop this and say that there were casualties. We tried. But Allah commanded me to save myself and not commit suicide. But anything short of that, I'm going to do for myself and for my family and for your family, inshallah. May Allah give us tawfiq. Allahumma ameen. Please share this link, inshallah. Let's keep this conversation going. The teachers in the schools are not able to separate their subjective beliefs and opinions from their teaching nowadays. And this is a problem. What do we see? A teacher who is homosexual. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. The same way that the teacher's heterosexual. Nobody cares. I did not send my kids to school to learn about your sexuality. To learn that when you want to fulfill your desires, who do you fulfill it with or what gender? My kids don't care, I don't care. Why do you care? And when I tell you about my preferences, that's pretty boring, isn't it? You don't really want to know that. That offends you. That offends you that I have, you know, that I have an inclination towards the opposite gender. How is that inappropriate? Why would I talk to you about this? Do you have parents who come to the teacher school night, back to school night, sit down with the teacher and tell them about the sexuality? No, and it's inappropriate. And if those kind of conversations are going on, I'm sure the teachers will say, I felt uncomfortable, especially if he was heterosexual or she was heterosexual, and the teachers of the opposite gender, you're gonna feel, man, is he hitting on me? Or is it just, I mean, what? Yeah. Oh, but it's okay now for you to go and talk about homosexuality to kids. This is crazy. You don't even trust children with almost anything, but you want them to have full control to make decisions that can scar them for life. How does a child come back from changing their gender? Do you think it's an easy process? When they have taken hormones, when they have had surgery to cut off anatomical body parts, because they were encouraged and basically fed on this mission. My message to all of the children out there is that if somebody is trying to tell you that it's okay, that you can do all these things to yourself, I want you to step back and allow them to do it to themselves. And I promise you, the majority of all of sane humanity will not do it. But just like when there's a fire, they will stand and watch while the structure burns down. They will not try to go in and save the people, but they will stand outside and watch. Just like a fireworks show. They will watch you destroy your life just like a fireworks show too. They will watch you, but they themselves, they'll never do those things. Okay. So many of them celebrate that they don't have to tell you anything and that they know your child better than you. This is something that some teachers take pride in, believe it or not. Fears surrounding jobs and careers. Let's get into this. We're almost done, inshallah. We're not too far, inshallah. These schools are not the reason for your children's provision. Again, in Muslim terms, these schools are not a reason for your rizq. These schools are not a reason for your rizq. Okay? They're not a reason for your rizq. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Razaq. He is the one who is providing. He is the one that is in control of your provision, not these schools, not your degree. And for many of the parents that came here from foreign countries, the proof is right there. You don't have a college degree from these institutions. I know many Muslims that came from foreign countries. English is not their first language. They still don't have mastery of the English language. Materially, they are farther and ahead over born Americans, quote unquote, that are, you know, born with the English tongue, and this is our mother tongue, and we speak the King's English and all this other stuff. Okay. As an added proof, if you really want to look at it, where does America rank in education compared to other countries? It ain't very high. As a matter of fact, some of the countries that many of you guys came from academically rank over American reality. And not only that, when you do get to higher education inside of America, you find the majority of the higher education faculty are foreigners. Foreigners. But you want to trust this system? You want to put everything in here because this place is going to get your kids somewhere, it's not. It's not. Okay. The education is geared towards training your children to do certain jobs. This is a fact. They don't really care. There's a goal for this industrial machine and what our goals are as a society. And your children will be fit into different parts. Look at when there's a need for pharmacists, kick pharmacists. Until now, pharmacists don't even have a job because they can't find one. I know pharmacists that drive to Wyoming for work with $200,000 in debt. How you like that? That's not even because of their house. When there's a need for this or for that, pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it. And what do you think the schools are doing? But when it really comes to the happiness and the career goal-oriented happiness and satisfaction of your children, that's not the priority. How many medical professionals do I work with and have I worked with over the years that are burnt out? Some of them are even doctors and they're not happy. They're not happy. They were pushed in this way. They were fed into this way, and they don't have a sense of fulfillment for 30 years. 30 years. And you know, because some of you guys are in the same boat. A lack of fulfillment and purpose in life. But you spend the majority of your day doing something, many of you, because you spent so much money to get that job. And it was just a job in reality. And now you find yourself where you find yourself. And I've been there. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for all of us. Some people brought up this issue. Socialization. Socialization. They want their children to socialize. So if they don't put them in public schools, they're going to be locking them up and they're not going to be able to socialize. What are they socializing with? Are they socializing with children you want them to socialize with? Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think so. There's nothing wrong with that. We want for our children what we want for our children. We have values. Other people have values. But are you going to sacrifice your child's education for socialization? Because a school is a place of learning, not socialization. If you want them to learn how to socialize, why don't you send them to the club? And you know why you won't do that. I don't really want you to do that. Do not send your children to the club. Sheikh Umar didn't say send them to the club. It was a joke, bad joke. But it was to waken you up a little bit. Okay? So again, you want your children to socialize, but then they find themselves socially, because they have values that they have, as social outcasts in the same place you sent them for social growth. And it's not happening. It's not happening. And this, as we saw from the study, is a big reason why many people are leaving Islam. All right, guys, let's get to the last part, inshallah. Guys, I would like you to please take this moment, share this link, share the link, inshallah. Let's get some more people in and let's talk about solutions. So many times leaders like to talk about problems and scare the heck out of everybody, and then they just hang up, right? We're all going down, it's going down, it's all gonna burn, it's all finished. Hang up. I'm not gonna do that to you, inshallah. Let's talk about solutions, inshallah. Let's talk about solutions. And this is where I'm gonna put some skin in the game, inshallah. I'm gonna put some skin in the game, and I want you to as well. Okay, what can we do? What can we do about this public school crisis that we're having? that is contributing to the most major contribution to your children leaving Islam? Well, there's a move that you can make in chess. I'm a chess master. I know the one move you can make, I promise you will not lose any pieces. Wallahi, billahi, tallahi, you will not lose any pieces. You know what that move is? You move away from the table. You do not engage. You may not win the game, but you also won't lose any pieces. Take your children out of public schools. Take your children out of public schools. Stop trying to risk the engagement. 25% of our Muslim youth are leaving Islam. This is an unacceptable statistic, and our children are statistics. And as a minority that from the 1980s and 90s was so focused on not being a statistic, I refuse to add onto the statistic of being Black, the statistic of being a Muslim in America. We're not gonna go there. Stop engaging with this machine that doesn't want to accept you, and it does not want to accept your beliefs. It wants to change you. It wants you to conform. It wants to melt you like fondue with the rest of the cheese so that you can be consumed like the rest of the cheese. Take yourself out of this madness. Take your children out of this madness. Save yourselves and save your families from the hellfire. How can you take your kids out? Okay, here we go. Locally, I will speak. Nationally, I will speak. Internationally, I will speak. Locally, here in Colorado, you have 3 choices. How many choices do you have? 3. You can take your children and put them in one of the 2 Islamic schools that we have. That's CVA, Crescent View Academy, and Safa, Salahuddin Future Academy. But what's the 3rd option? You can take your children out and you can homeschool them. Yes, you can. Even if you are not a native English speaker, I promise you, the numbers of homeschool students in America are over 10% now currently. These businesses, these public schools that have gone online, now they're called homeschools, okay? They have curriculums that they well cater to your faith. No music, no dealing with certain things. You can tell you can get alternatives for what you want to teach your kids in certain areas as you go through the content, but they have teachers that will teach whatever you want them to teach. And you can monitor and make sure that they're doing just that. No private conversations. It's a lesser evil. Am I saying that they're still not going to be exposed to that curriculum and to that ideology? No, they still will. But guess what? If you're in America, it's going to happen no matter what, okay? But at least you are there with your child as they are encountering these beliefs and these things, and you can scrub it, filter it, you can evaluate it, have conversations with them, help them properly understand it in the scope of Islam. And if you can't personally do that, there are other Muslims in the community who can do that. Take your children out of public school on Monday. Take them out of public school, immediately disenroll them. And once you've done that, contact me on Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, YouTube, text me, WhatsApp. I promise you I'm here for you. We will figure it out. First of all, I know our Muslim institutions will not turn back any child. I know that we will do everything that we can for our kids. I know for Safas personally, if they turn back a child because of money, I will quit. I will quit. I will quit, and I still won't let you down, I will help you and I will show you what you can do. I will show you what you can do. You don't have to have money to do this. You do not have to have money to do this. Okay? You can take them out. If you can't afford to put them in private school, take them out, do a homeschool program, call me, we can talk and we'll put it together, how we can make it work. There's also a brother, I don't know if he's watching this, I'm gonna tag him inside of this here. His name is Hassan Abdurrahman. He also goes by Hassan Bond. Maybe he has two S's. Let me see here. Hassan. Let me see. Here we go. All right. Hassan Bond, he also goes by Hassan Abdurrahman. May Allah reward this brother. He loves the Quran and the Sunnah. And he actually wrote a curriculum. He wrote a curriculum that has been evaluated by other people in higher education. And he can make this available to you, inshallah. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here. I will put the comment. Please share your curriculum. I think I spelled that right. There's a delay. I apologize, guys. Just give me some more of your time here. We're going to be finishing, inshallah. Your appreciate it. Okay. He'll get this if he's not seeing this right now. Hopefully, inshallah, he will get in and he will be able to do this. Okay. So, again, what can you do? You take your kids out of public school, take your kids out of public school. Then we have a solution for you. Trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not forsake any of his slaves. And the proof is that Allah says, whoever has taqwa of Allah, he will make for him a way, makhraja, a way, a path, a way out. Okay? Whoever has taqwa of Allah, Allah will make a way out for him. Okay? The other thing that you can do is you can share and support this content. Please share and support this content. Please share and support this content. I have no doubt that as I go on this warpath and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for tawfiq, that I'm going to get canceled. I'm going to get canceled just like everybody else gets canceled. I'll be patient with the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but I will not be quiet. I will continue to pump things out. I will continue to make content. I will continue the conversation. I will continue the solutions. If you want me to travel to your city and show you what we've done here in Denver and how you can do what we did here even better, then inbox me, let me know, contact me, any social media platform, and I will come to your city and I will show you how we can do this, inshallah. The brother Hassan is in the conversation here. Let's see. He says, which one? I'm going to like that, first of all. This is my brother. I love him for the sake of Allah. I'm going to say K through 12, whatever you have. Whatever you have, Akhi. K through 12. Maybe me and you can get in, Akhi, and we can do a talk, inshallah, and we can discuss the curriculum. We can talk about it. I don't know if you've been online with us here, but this whole conversation has been about taking our kids out of public school. Taking our kids out of public school, educating our children, taking accountability for that, because as a Pew Research Institute research that I had posted to the community, 25%, Akhi, 25% Muslim youth as young adults are leaving Islam. And I know the number one contributing factor is education and the home. Education, the schools, and the home. So, inshallah, Akhi, if we can, let's set it up. Maybe we can announce it, and we will reach out to everybody and let them know that we've done this. Bidnillah. Again, please get in contact with our brother Hassan Abdurrahman. I put him here in the conversation. He's under Hassan Bond, and I'm Umar Mitchell, Imam Umar Mitchell here in Denver, alhamdulillah. And contact us. Take the content and the benefits that we're trying to give you. Share these, because like I said, we're going to get canceled. We're going to get canceled. We're going to get canceled. People are going to try to extinguish the light of Allah, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will preserve and keep that light ablaze, even if the disbelievers don't like it. I promise you that. We promise you that. Okay? And we will do our best to be on every corner of the earth, calling the people to Islam, calling the people to the Sunnah, trying to keep the people in the fold of Islam, busying them with those things that concern them, improving their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what our major priority should be. And this is also another reason why people are leaving Islam. They do not know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we'll get into this matter, inshallah. The other thing that we can do, and lastly, please make dua. Make dua for us all. Make dua. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our children. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us steadfast. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us firm on that which is pleasing to Him. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those who He is pleased with, and not from those who He is angry with, who have earned His anger by knowing better and choosing to do different. And from those who are misguided, those who do without knowing what to do, wandering about and fumbling about. And what's at risk is your salvation and the salvation of your children. Anything that I said is correct is from Allah and His Messenger, and anything I said is not correct is from myself or shaitan, and Allah and His Messenger are free from it. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.